Namaskar. I'm Dr. Hema Mahne, working as a assistant professor of zoology in B. Raghunath Arts, Commerce and Science College, Parvani. Dear students, we all know that in BSc third year, we have two papers in the zoology. That is the paper number 12 and paper number 13. So 12th paper, it is an compulsory paper and the title of that paper is Ecology and Zoo Geography. It is a very important paper as we know that in that we can study all the basic concepts about what is mean by ecology, what is mean by ecosystem, and what is the zoo geography. In this today's video, I will teach you one of the important aspect of the ecology, that is the biotic interaction. So first, in that we can see what is mean by biotic interactions or what are the definition of these biotic interactions. So particularly biotic interaction, it is known as the relationship among the organisms. So under the natural situation, when the organisms are living together, these two animals are affecting each other's life directly or indirectly because they are sharing the common habitat, they are sharing the common resources. So there is a continuous interaction can be occur within these animals. So these interactions can occur between the members of the same species. We call it as a intraspecific interaction. Whenever an interaction occurs between the member of the same species, it is known as intraspecific. And whenever the interaction occurs between two different species, it is known as the interspecific interaction. Means the interaction which is occur within the animals, it is occur at the two levels. That is there are intraspecific interactions is there and the interspecific interaction is also take place in the nature. So most of the ecologists use the term symbiosis, which literally means the living together. So whenever the animals are living together in a nature, they are continuously affecting each other's life directly or indirectly. So there is a continuous interaction occur within this organism. So these types of interaction, these are particularly broadly divided into two types, depending upon how that either the both partners are getting benefited from each other or only one partner is get benefited and other is harmed. So depending upon the benefit, this particular biotic interaction, it is divided into two broad groups, which is known as the positive members. So here, both the species are benefited from each other. There will be no any harm to the each animals. Means the both the animals are getting benefit to the each other. So these benefit may be in respect of food, in respect of shelter, in respect of substratum, or for the transportation purpose. So when either one of these benefits is getting from both the partner, then that type of interaction, or when both are benefited from each other, both are helpful for each other for their survival or for to fulfill their basic needs, then they are known as the positive interactions can be occur within that organism. So the association between the two organisms in such type of interaction, it may be continuous, transitory, or the obligate. So in many examples, we can see that there is a very close association between these two partners. So now we can see the examples of this positive interaction. So first, the examples of this positive interaction, it is the mutualism, and it is indicated by the sign plus plus. The sign plus indicate, as in the mathematics we know that the plus means the addition or there is some gain. So in this mutualism, the plus sign indicate that the both the partners are getting benefit. So that's why there are two positive signs are indicated, means the both the partners are getting benefit from each other. So these are the mutually beneficial interspecific interaction, means this is the interaction which is occur between the member of the different species. So here both the species can obtain or can derive benefit from each other. So there occurs often a close and the permanent or sometimes obligatory contact, which is more or less essential for the survival of the each. So this contact or this association may be permanent or it may be temporary. So if you want to see the examples of such type of mutualism which is occur in the environment, so we can see the lot of example in the nature. So very common example and very best examples of the mutualism which we can be seen in the nature is that the pollination process which is done by the animals. Then second we can see here that is the dispersal of fruits and seeds. So we know that the many times the animals whenever eat the fruit, so some of the seeds are dropped down in that particular soil, and in this way, ultimately that seeds can be dispersed from one place to the another place. So we can see in detail later on the example of that. Then another examples of this mutualism, that is the lichens and the symbiotic nitrogen fixers. So now we see here in detail how we can study this example one by one. So, or what are the different examples? So, the first example, which is very common, and we can say that that is the pollination process, which is done by the animal. So, here we can see that the birds and bees particularly gain the pollen and nectar for themselves. So, whenever and bees and birds are sitting on the flowers, they can obtain the pollen and nectar from that flowers. So means in short, we can be called it as a they can obtaining the food from that particular flower. So they are benefited as they are getting food from that flower. So this is the one side that the birds are getting benefit or bees are getting benefit from the flower. But what about the flowers? What about that particular plant? So they are also get benefit from that bees and bird, because whenever that can be obtained the nectar and pollen, and when they fly or they can sit on some another flower, so they are helping the process of pollination, because some of the pollen grains are stick to their legs, and whenever they can fly from one flower to another flower, they are transferring their genetic material from one or plant species to the another one. So this is a very best example of this mutualism which is occur in the nature. So now if we want to see the next example in this, that is the lichens. So these lichens, it is a mutualistic association between a species of algae and a species of fungus. So fungus and algae, when they come in contact or when they are associated with each other, there is a formation of the lichen. So this algal partner particularly, we know that as it is containing the green pigment. So with the help of this green pigment, with the help of this chlorophyll, it can prepare their own food material by the process of photosynthesis. So for that, they can require the minerals, they can require the particularly moisture. So these minerals and the moisture which is provided by the fungus. So in this way, the fungus can be provide water and mineral to the algae, and by using this water and mineral, the algae can prepare the food material. So both are benefited from each other. So the food, whatever the produced by this algae, it is utilized by the fungus also. So this is and particularly a very good examples of the mutualism where the association it is an permanent or it is a very close with each other. So the next example in this mutualism we have to study it, that is the symbiotic nitrogen fixers. So we know that though there are 78 to 80% nitrogen is present in the atmosphere, the plants are not able to utilize that nitrogen directly from the atmosphere, because they have to be fixed that particularly nitrogen which is found in the atmosphere into the ammonia and convert it into the nitrates by the help of the bacteria. So the leguminous plants, particularly which are having the nodules on their roots. So in that nodules, the rhizobium bacteria is found, and this bacteria is help that plant to convert the atmospheric nitrogen into the particularly the nitrates, which is particularly that form which can be easily utilized by the plant. So the bacteria help that plant, leguminous plant, to provide the source of nitrates to the plant, and in respect of that or due to that, the plants can also provide the ready-made the foods which is prepared by that plant. That food is utilized by the bacteria. So here you can see how these both are get benefited from each other. the bacteria get ready food from the plants, and for that the bacteria can provide or they can convert the atmospheric nitrogen into nitrates, which is the particularly that source which can be utilized by the plant. So here both are getting benefit from each other. So such leguminous plants which are having the rhizobium bacteria, it is also a good example of the mutualism found in the nature. So there are a lot of examples are there which can show the mutualism where the both partners are get benefited. Some of the most common example or which we can be seen here is that we can see many times that the crocodiles they are comes from the river at the bank of the river, and they can open their mouth, and we can see the many birds are freely enter into the mouth of that crocodile, and they can clean up the mouth of that particular crocodile. So if you see these photographs, you can clearly see here that these birds they are not frightened to that crocodile because there is a mutual association or mutual in the relationship is occurred between the crocodile and that particularly bird, because that birds can do the work of cleaning. So what happened whenever the some of the meat which are remain into the teeth of that particular crocodile, or some of the algal growth is also happen into the between the teeth of the crocodile. So whenever bird enter into the mouth of that crocodile, with the help of beak, they can clean the mouth. They can eat the meat part which is found in that teeth. They can also eat some of the if the worms are there, or particular algal growth if there happen or occur in that particular teeth. So they are also eaten by the birds. So ultimately they can obtain the food from that particularly mouth of the crocodile. And crocodile is having advantage is that free of cost their mouth can be cleaned by this bird. So in this way the bird can get food from that particularly mouth of the crocodile, and the crocodile can be can have a free service of cleaning its mouth. So here that's why this association, there is a very we can say that a good example where these two animals, interspecific animals can be connected with each other, or such type of interaction can be occur in the nature. So now another example, if you want to be see here that we can see now a lot of examples of that mutualism. Now we can move toward the next biotic interaction, which is known as the commensalism. So this commensalism, it is indicated by the sign plus and zero, or zero it indicates the neutral, nothing. So from this sign we can be guess that here one partner is get benefited as the plus sign is there, and one is remain neutral, or one is remain as it is. It neither getting any benefit from the other partner nor it is harmed by that partner. So it remain unaffected. So such type of association or such type of interaction, it is termed as a commensalism. So in this interspecific association, again, it is occurring between the member of two different species. Plants, these are found in the forest. This is the example of commensalism. Epiphytes are there, a variety of microorganisms which are found in the higher animals. All these are the examples of commensalism. We can see it as a one by one. Now, so the first example which we can be denote here, that is the lianas. So these are the particular vascular plants rooted in the ground, but they are not having the erect stem, or they are not having the strong stem. So for the erectness to get the sunlight of particularly in that forest, they can take the support, or they can take the help of some other plants to grow up in the upper side. So they can maintain the erectness by taking the help or use of the objects of other plants for the support only. So they cannot maintain any direct nutritional relationship with the trees, remain unaffected. So that is known as the commensalism. One partner is benefited, other remain unaffected. In lianas, the lianas is benefited, and the plant through, which is providing support to that lianas, it remain as it is or unaffected. So some another examples which is found in the nature, and it is very common. We observe in our many times in our life, that is in the grazing animal, certain birds are sitting. Particularly, if you see that the cattle egrate, these birds can be often found in the pastures holding horses and cattle. So these livestock as the graze. So these cattle are, whenever they are grazing, so what happens? The insect which is sitting on their particular body, they stir up by their movement as they are whenever they are grazing. So that insect is stir up, and this provides the nourishment for the egret. So whenever that insect can be fly, that will be captured by the egret, and in this way they are obtaining food. So whenever the insect present in that particular cattle, during the movement they can be fly, and this can be captured by the egret, and they can be used it as a food. So here the egret is getting benefit, that they are obtaining food from that particular cattle, but cattle remain unaffected. But sometimes this may be happen that this cattle is also benefited, because some of the harmful worms which are sticks on their body, it will be also removed by this bird. So here we can see that how the egrets is get benefited, and that cattle is remain as it is. And next example in this commensalism, it is a shark and the sucker fish. So in between this shark and sucker fish, which is also known as the remora fish, or we can be in a common name, that is the sucker fish. So this remora fish, it is attaches itself to the underside of the shark without the harming to the shark. So for that, the dorsal fin of that particularly sucker fish, it is modified into a sucker. So with the help of this sucker, it is attached to the dorsal side or the this is the underside of this shark. And what happens, there will be no any harm to that particular shark by the attachment of this sucker fish. But sucker fish get many benefits from that shark, that is it eats whatever the leftovers bits of foods can be remaining from the shark meal. So whenever a shark is having its meal, and whatever the leftovers are over, that is used as a food by the sucker fish. And as it is attached to the underside of the shark, whenever the shark can be transport, or whenever the shark can be move in the water, the easy transportation of that sucker fish is also done along with the shark. So whenever that shark move along with that, that sucker fish is also move. And third important benefit which is getting by this sucker fish is that it is having protection against the predator. So as the shark, you know that it is a very huge animal. So as it is attaches with the shark, so no predator can be reach up to the sucker fish. So it is having protections from the predator. So the ready food, transportation, and the protection from the predation. These three important benefits is obtained by the sucker fish from the shark, while the shark remain unaffected. So this is an example of commensalism. One is getting benefit, other is remain unaffected. Now after that, we can see the second biotic interaction, and we can be call it as a negative interaction. The example of mutualism and commensalism, these are the types of positive interaction, because here we can see at least one partner is getting benefited, and there will be no any harm to any partner. So there is no any question of harm. Only there is benefit is there, or some remain unaffected. But in negative interaction, then that type of negative interaction can be divided into a category known as the exploitation. So thus exploitation may be in respect of shelter, in respect of food, or it may be in respect of particularly support. So the various relationship in respect of food and in respect of shelter can be belongs to, or it is divided, or we can see the two types in that particularly exploitation, that is the parasitism and the predation. So now we can see about the parasitism. So these type of negative interaction, it is indicated by the symbol plus and minus. So as we already know the meaning of plus, that it indicates the gain. And the minus sign is important, because this minus sign is not never we can see in the positive interaction. So these negative sign in the particularly found in the negative interaction, because these sign indicate the loss. That's why deletion. So in parasitism, we can see here the one partner is get benefit while the other is harmed by this second partner. So parasitism, it is one-sided relationship where one partner is benefited at the expense of the other. So the one partner is getting benefit by the loss of some other partner. So the other partner is harmed and one partner is only get benefit. So the partner which is benefited, it is commonly known as, or it is generally known as the parasites. And the partner who is harmed in such type of interaction, it is known as the host. So it is a relationship between the parasite and host, which is known as the parasitism. It is a negative interaction. So there are different types of parasites can be found. Some are known as the temporary parasites, some are permanent parasites, ectoparasites if it is found outside the body, and some parasites are there which is found within the body. They are known as endoparasites, and there are certain parasites are there which is found within the cells, which is known as intracellular parasites. So these are the different types of parasites found in the nature. So if you want to see what is the relationship between this parasitism, symbiotic relationship, so here we can say that many these particularly a species benefit but the other species are harmed. It is very important that one is only getting benefit, other is obtaining harm or getting harm from the first partner. And this benefit can be in respect of food, shelter, or protection. So whenever an animal make the use of another animal for the food, or it can be taking benefits in respect of the shelter, or it may be take benefit in respect of the protection, whenever it use for this purpose the another animal, so it is known as the parasitism. So this parasitism, as we already so see that there are some endoparasites are there. For example, cystode like tapeworms are there which is found in the intestine of the human being, and some ectoparasites are also there. For example, mosquito like animals are there which is found on the outer side, or some lice like animals are found which is found on the outer surface. So these are some of the parasites, which is different types of parasite found in the nature. So here the parasites always get benefit because it use the host for the purpose of food, for the purpose of shelter, and for the particularly protection, or protection for itself. So and as the parasite is getting benefit, but the host are always harmed, because parasite is directly using the body of that particular host. So it can obtain the food from that, it can obtain shelter from that. So there is a negative impact can be seen on the host. So host are always harmed in this such type of interaction. So now we can see the next type of interaction, that is known as the predation. So this predation is also indicated by the sign plus and minus. Here the one partner is get benefited and other can be harm, or it can having some negative impact from the first one. So predation is when the one animal or one species, which is generally we can be called it as a predator, it can consume or it can make the use of another animal as a food, or we can be called it as a prey. So it is a relationship between the predator and prey. The benefit is obtained to the predator as it eating the another animal as a food, and what is the harm to that prey? It can lose its life. So it is the relationship between the predator and prey, where the predator get benefit and prey are the harm. So it can be herbivorous. This predation may be the herbivorous, where the plant eaters animals are there. Here we can see that the plants can be utilized as a food by this herbivorous animal. So here the plant can be destroyed as it is eaten by this particular animals. For example, deer-like animals are there. So deer can use the plant as a food. So they are getting benefit because they are obtaining food from that plant. But in respect of but if you see about the plant can be destroyed or they can be harmed by such activity. So it is known as a predation. And in nature, the major you can see that the carnivorous animals are found. So these carnivorous animals, they can eat the flesh or meat, so they can use the some another animals, we can be call it as a prey as a food. So lions are there, tigers are there, which can capture this prey, and they can be eat that particular animal as a food. So here is an benefit is only offered to the predator, and there is a loss of the prey. So if you want to see some of the examples of particularly this predator and prey relationship, or some example, you can see that these birds are there, which can using the fish. Okay, then predator can be hunts the prey to for the food, because they are using that particular prey as a food, and prey it is hunted and it is eaten by the predator. So these the type of relationship means in nature, the positive as well as negative, these both type of interactions can be seen in the nature, because both the type of interactions are important, and they are maintaining or they are balancing the ecosystem. So these predator, this relationship is also important, because it keeps the animal population in that area at a healthy level. So and it decreases the overpopulation due to the predation prey relationship. It is never happened that a particular species can be increase, the population can be increase more in number, because there is an particularly watch, or there is an particularly check of the predator. So whenever the population of prey is increased, the predator is having an important role to maintain the population of that particular prey. So in that an ecosystem, all the organisms or all the species is having equal chance to survive or equal chance to live. So this is all about, or this is only due to the different type of interaction occurring in a nature, which is essential for the maintaining balance in an ecosystem. So now in this negative interaction, if you see in the predation, during the process of evolution, what happened? The predators evolved ways to make them more successful at catching their prey. So some evolutions or some adaptations are found in particular that predator to successfully catch the prey. So for example, these animals, the predator is always having the sharp claws. They are having the fang. They are having the poisoner, which help that particular predator to paralyze or to capture the prey. So these are the important things which can be evolved in that particular predators during the process of evolution. Similarly, the prey organisms are also evolved some adaptations to avoid or to protect itself from the predators. So they can be particularly, if you see, so the color camouflage is there, then mimicry is there. So these are certain adaptation which is shown by this prey to save its life from the predator. So in the nature, the predator is evolved in its own way, and prey is evolved in its own way. But in these interactions, there is always benefit of the predator, and there is a loss of prey when it is captured by the predator, as it can lose its life. So next in this negative interactions, we can see that is the last one, that is the competition. So we know that all the animals are living in an environment. So whenever they are living in an environment, they are sharing the common habitat, and they are sharing the common resources. So these resources may be the water is there, sunlight is there, the food is there. So whenever and a particular that resources are limited in that environment, so it can result into the competition, because each and every species and each and every individual of that organism of that species want to survive, want to continue its life cycle. So and for that, he want to obtain the minimum or the basic requirement which is essential for the survival of every organism. So they require shelter, they require food, and they require mate to reproduce and produce their next generation member of the different species. Means the intraspecific competition and interspecific competition, these two types of competition is occur in the nature. So it is the law of the natural selection, we can be studied in the Darwin's theory. So survival of the fittest, so this is the law which is particularly, or this is the theory which is proposed by the Darwin, and the nature will select only those organisms who is fit for that particular environment. So the competitions are always occur, and who win that competition can nature will only select that organism to continue its life cycle. So these competitions, it is one of the important biotic interactions, and due to this competition we can say that the animal who is most fitted for that particular organism, that can be continue its life cycle in the nature. So it is again because here only one animal can be succeed. Whenever the competition is there, one animal is win and other will lose. So the competition will be in respect of food, the competition will be in respect to obtain the shelter, or there must be a competition to obtain a mate for the process of the reproduction. So here if we see this particularly the competition, it is occurring for competing the resources. Whenever the resources are there, everyone want to obtain that resources. As the resources are limited, it result into the formation of a competition. Competition occur only when there is a resources are limited, and many are wanting that particular resources. Means the more is the resources are very less, and more numbers of animals are present in that particular environment, and they and everyone want to obtain that resources. For example, nutrients are there, like water is there, food is there. So these competition is occur in the nature, and this is a negative type of interaction. So what we can be seen in this lecture, or how we can summarize this, that biotic interactions are very important. These biotic interactions are continuously occurring in the nature because the organisms are living together. They are sharing the same habitat in the environment. So these interactions are broadly divided into two types: positive interactions and the negative interactions. The positive interaction, the both the here the benefits here, the both the partners are getting benefit to each other, or there must be one partner is benefited and one remain unaffected, but there will be no any loss to any of the partner in this association or in this relationship. So we can be say that in positive there are two types of biotic interactions, or examples are there, that is the mutualism and commensalism. The mutualism is indicated by a particular sign plus plus, that is both are getting benefit from the benefited from this type of interaction. Commensalism, it is indicated as a plus and zero, which indicate that one partner is getting benefit, one remain neutral, or one remain unaffected. There will be no any benefit and there will be no any harm to the second partner. Then we can see the negative interactions is also there, and in that negative interaction, here is that sometimes only one partner is get benefited and other is harm, or sometimes both are getting harm to they are both are having harm from the each other. So in that we can see the predation and the parasitism. So predation, it is indicated by plus and minus sign, and parasitism is also indicated by plus and minus sign. It indicates that the one partner is get benefited in such type of interaction, and one partner is harmed by the first one. So and last one, that is the competition, which will be indicated as minus minus, or it may be plus or minus, because sometimes one is benefited from such type of interaction and one is one. So and last one, that is the competition, which will be indicated as minus minus, or it may be plus or minus, because sometimes one is benefited from such type of interaction and one is particularly having harm from the one, or sometimes both are getting affected negatively from the each other. So I hope you can understand this particularly biotic interactions, and I'm very so this particularly video is helpful for all of you to understand the biotic interactions, which are different types of biotic interactions which can occur in the nature. Thank you.